Hello, everyone. For those who are distant cousins, we think of EE as a family. So whether you're a first cousin or a distant one, know that when schools grow, people grow. And part of our mission is to really make sure that we have a future where change is something that brings about students' potential. We have a vision that says, hey, when we have the best, we bring out the best in people, we have the best people. So I feel like the people in the room are the very best people. This is me. Y'all see me. If you haven't met me yet, my name is Michaela, Ella, A, just like the Rihanna song. Shout out to the Super Bowl if we have any football fans. But Rihanna, Ella, that's how you say my name. I'm a design principal. I'm very interested in this content today because one of the few teams we're highlighting today I've supported and really interested in sharing how the impact of personalized learning in the professional development space can really scale and expand. And what about you, my friend?
And my name is Africa Fels. I am a design associate for Education Elements, and I am out of Greensboro, North Carolina. I am interested in this topic today because prior to leaving the classroom space, I was actually teaching a pilot program that was based on personalized learning. It was one of the very first ones that hit our district. I got to see one full year of results before COVID came through. So I am super excited about what we will learn today and how we will break down all of the different ways that we can figure out how to soft launch shifting into PL. And with that being said, we can just go ahead and jump right into the essential questions. Now we want to take a look at just 3 essential questions that we hope to problem solve for and hopefully leave with some answers for today. So the very first one being, why is providing responsive support and being innovative important when considering shifting to PL? So as we all know, whenever there's a shift that takes place, we can anticipate that there will be some challenges. So the key is knowing how to navigate through these initial challenges. And that doesn't necessarily guarantee that we'll fix them all. However, we can begin practicing being responsive, which also ties to our next EQ question. What considerations and key moves are important when shifting to PL or scaling it? So, of course, we want to make sure you all consider things like who has the capacity? Are there people who have other roles and responsibilities? What about the experience? Are there teachers who are already using some of these personalized learning best practices that we can leverage from? And where do we start? Who would PL most benefit in this very moment? And then lastly, we want to take time to just think about how might we self-assess our current state in order to move to our ideal PL state. So today, during some planning time, you'll get a chance to kind of sit back and relax and kind of really scope out your PL journey, and you'll begin to map out your journey based on where you feel like you currently are. So up next, we have our elements of building knowledge. So consider this to be like our 4-way stop on our journey today. The essential questions already gave us the what we're here for, but these 4 stops give us the how we'll learn it. So we'll begin with the spark, which will just showcase today's content and why it matters. Then we'll jump to expand, where we'll get to explore some resources to help us practice in a low stakes manner and safe way to test our ideas. Finally, we'll have some space to plan. And basically in that moment, you'll just take how you've practiced or prototype in order to take today's learning back to your respective schools, campuses, and classrooms.
Thank you so much, Africa. She has set it up. It's a tough act to follow. So I'll start with the spark, which she named. So this is kind of the question we'll ground our work in. And I want you to really get in the mindset of innovation and responsiveness. Okay, on the screen, we see this little guy and we see this red icon. For my foodies who love to eat in different spaces and places, Michelin star ratings, so the 3-star ratings you can get for a phenomenal restaurant or eating experience, really stem from the Michelin Man, the tire company. That's right. And the thing is, they initially began with saying, hey, if you are a trucker or a driver, these are some local eateries or some local attractions that you might attend. So they are fully connected. And yep, every time you eat, think of the little rubber guy. Now, the good thing is Michelin star ratings stem from these 4 pieces, which actually clearly connect to what we think about when we have shifts to PL or expansion. We have to have quality products. In our case, It is high quality instructional materials. Are we choosing curriculum writers or different set plays that can help us to do that? The second bullet talks about being demonstrative of those techniques. How do we develop our teams? How do we make sure that we have mastered the technique and had an opportunity to feel safe enough to try before we expose it to the rest of the districts or to our students foremost? The third bullet talks about showcasing personality. I know I have a lot, and so does Africa, and you guys are in store. But so does every single educator who comes into this space. We come with this magnetism, this gravitas that really helps us to be able to personalize learning and put the person in it. And finally, be consistent. No one who gets a Michelin star rating wants to go to a restaurant on Saturday or Tuesday, and then not get the same on Wednesday or Sunday. It makes us think about this traditional coffee experience. Now, I don't drink coffee like this, y'all. I took a picture, and so did Africa, and there are plenty others that you have experienced. In this image, we see a lot of things. We see individuals waiting. They kind of look either frustrated, tired, or we see one barista, maybe two, or there's even a space there is a line. And don't forget, you should not show up and not know your order and be asking for a venti when really you meant a grande or a tall. I don't even know. It's a bunch of different stuff. I don't drink coffee, but this is the traditional coffee experience. But then there is something else. There's the Costa Coffee experience. I looked this up. I saw this at the Barbara Jordan Terminal in Austin Bergstrom Airport in Austin, Texas. I'm a Texan, so shout out to anybody who lives in Texas. But to be very honest, I had no idea what I was walking up on, and then I was floored. There was not a line because it was so in and out. It was barista-less. It was 2 minutes or less. They had reasonably sourced coffee beans. I learned that I researched this, by the way. They started in 1971, the same year as Starbucks. They kept their coffee grounds under an archway in the UK because it was ideal conditions. I mean, it's just an amazing story. But at the end of the day, they got that same experience, but it was innovative. So what does that have to do with today? Real quick, what are the ideal conditions that Costa Coffee used that we can learn it? We have to learn and be able to innovate. There's nothing new under the sun. So as educators, our ideal conditions can still exist with our pre-existing ones, but something has to give. Another bullet, that second bullet, talks about how do we ensure that PD is delivered through and through when scaling or implementing. Well, something I didn't mention about Costa Coffee is they delivered the coffee beans before they ever opened a coffee shop or what they call a coffee boutique. So how do we deliver that A+ service? Where does it exist? And finally, the third bullet talks about innovating on current practices. After 100+ blends of coffee sipping, I can't imagine. Africa, I'm sure you would enjoy that.
That would be great. That would be great.
2 pumps. I can't.
My order?
Yes.
My Starbucks order, a venti vanilla latte with 3 pumps of vanilla, 3 pumps of brown sugar, topped with vanilla sweet cold foam. Thank you. Hot. Thank you.
And there she is. Thank you, Africa. They had to go through a bunch of blends in order for Africa to be able to say, this is the baseline. So we have a lot of experiences that are very special and can work. But how do we innovate on those experiences? How do we add those pumps, those foams, etc.?